everyone. My name is Malika. I'm an account partner here at Success at School, and I will also be your host this evening. Tonight, we're really excited to welcome the team at Deloitte, who are going to be here to discuss all things apprenticeships. Deloitte's applications are now open, so we're going to hear from the Early Careers Advisor Madiha, as well as two current apprentices, Hannah and Faris, who will be here to answer all the questions that you have and discuss their apprenticeship journey with you. Now, before I turn the discussion over to the team at Deloitte, if you guys have any questions at all throughout the presentation, please feel free to drop it in the chat and we'll get back to you during a live Q&A session towards the last 15 minutes of the webinar. We're expecting quite a large number of attendees, so we'll really do our best to answer as many questions as we can. This webinar will also be recorded and uploaded to our YouTube channel at Success at School, where you can rewatch it as many times as you like. Feel free to also follow us on Instagram to hear about all the latest apprenticeship opportunities and insight webinars just like this. Now I'll pass it over to the team at Deloitte, and we really hope that you enjoy this.
Thank you so much, Malika, and welcome everyone. Thank you so much for taking time out this evening to come and join us today. I just want to briefly introduce myself and then introduce Hannah and Faris, and then I'll just talk through some of the opportunities that are available at Deloitte in regards to kind of apprentices and work placements that we have as well for school leavers. So as Malika said, my name is Medea. I'm one of the recruitment advisors here at Deloitte in the early careers recruitment team. I actually initially used to do grad recruitment, but I have recently just moved in to the space of recruiting for the schools. So really excited about starting to get some of you young school leavers into Deloitte and start your professional journey with us. I am based up in Glasgow, if you haven't guessed from my accent, and I'm very conscious I talk fast, so if at any point I'm talking too fast or you haven't understood what I've said, please feel free to just ask me to repeat it again in the chat. That's absolutely fine. And then now, just without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Faris and Hannah, and if you can just tell us a bit about yourselves.
Yeah, hi, good evening all. Great to see how many of you have actually turned out and how many of you actually are interested in Deloitte's apprenticeships. My name's Faris. I'm an apprentice here at Deloitte. I started in September 2022, so just over now coming up to 5 months being at the firm. I am an apprentice in the financial advisory service line, and more specifically operating in financial crime.
Thank you so much.
Hello, I'm Hannah. I also joined recently in September 2022. However, I am in the audit and assurance service line in the St Albans office.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Hannah and Faris. Great to see actually you are from completely different parts of the business. I think everybody always has a slight opinion of what Deloitte do, so it's good to hear actually it's a bit varied with who we've got on. So I'm just going to talk through what we will be covering today. So I will briefly go over who Deloitte are. And then I'll go over all of our early careers opportunities. So that's the Bright Start apprenticeships, our entry-level apprenticeships, and also our career shapers, and other paths that are available within Deloitte. And then what we'll do is a bit of a Q&A with our apprentices, and also before that I will talk through the application process as well. So please feel free to ask any questions via the chat. I will try my best to answer, but Faris and Hannah will be answering questions, and then at the end we'll go in and please feel free to come off mute and ask questions, or you can pop them in the chat box. So as you can see, Deloitte, as a lot of you will know, but for those of you who are not too sure about what Deloitte do or who we are one of the leading professional services worldwide. We're predominantly and well known as being part of the 4 Cs and being part of one of the biggest 4 accountancy firms. So we do accountancy and audit. But definitely, as you can hear from what Faris is covering in his Bright Start apprenticeships, we do much more than just kind of accounting and finance and audit work. We also do risk advisory work. We get involved in cyber risk. We also do financial services. So there's a wide range of sectors that now Deloitte are getting involved in. So yeah, we have around over 20,000 staff members in the UK that work across clients in the private and public sector. So that's across audit, our audit sector, our risk advisory sector, and our tax sector. But of course, worldwide, I think we have around over 200,000 staff members, actually probably a bit more than that. I'm probably being slightly generous with my numbers there. So yeah, we're obviously very well known. The firm itself welcomes around 3,800 staff members every single year, and in the last year we've taken on 1,600 grads alone and apprentices across all of Deloitte across the UK. So that's only in the UK. That number then would increase if we were to start looking at other regions as well. Deloitte are really big on learning and development, and they've actually just invested over 30 million in their learning and development for their staff members. So even though if you do join in as part of the apprenticeship and you go through the qualifications, there's a lot of other things that you can learn and develop while you're working and doing your actual apprenticeships as well. So I just want to go on and just talk about the actual opportunities that we have for school leavers. So there's three kind of routes, well, two routes that you can come through, but there is a third one as well. So I'm going to go through the slide backwards. I'm going to talk about Career Shapers first. So our Career Shapers is for year 10 and 11, and we also have year 12 and 13 as well. And for anyone that's from Scotland, that's basically year S4 and S5 students. It's a 3-day course, so we have virtual sessions and we also do have in-person sessions. So the in-person sessions, they're kind of based around London and Birmingham and Reading and Manchester, and then we have virtual events that are running across right up until July as well. So you're able to come in. It's a 3-day event. It's a chance for you to be able to get involved and see the kind of projects that Deloitte work on, what a kind of typical working day in Deloitte would look like. It's really good fun. We've just had a session run virtually just at the start of the week, and we've had some fantastic feedback from students saying they had an absolute fantastic time. It was really exciting. They were able to get involved in so much and meet lots of people. So yeah, really good way to kind of almost try before you buy, I suppose, situation. So it's 3 days, and it really does allow you to see, is it something that you would like to do? If you were to get through, and do the Career Shapers, it does actually give you entry onto the Bright Start apprenticeships. But of course, that is something, obviously, if you feel like at the end of it, it's not something you want to do, then you're able to decline that offer, and that's absolutely fine. Then we have our entry-level apprenticeships. Now, the entry-level apprenticeships are for students who have just finished their GCSEs, and this is a permanent role. So you are able to come in, you will get your level 4 apprenticeship, so you will be going to college twice, I think it's 2 days a week, and then you're working 3 days a week as well. So you're very much getting the practical on-hands experience as well as gaining your qualification as well. And then you have your Bright Start apprenticeship. Your Bright Start apprenticeship, is for students who have finished their A-levels. And again, very similar to our entry-level apprenticeships. You will be working a couple of days a week, and as well as you'll be attending college to receive your level 6. I'm sure it is, yes, it's level 6 higher apprenticeship, and then that basically leads you on into a permanent role. So you're not having to reapply after your Bright Start or entry level apprenticeship finishes. Once that is, it's just a rolling contract into the business. And then I suppose just to go into a bit more detail about those apprenticeships, I think a lot of people feel when there'll be an apprenticeship, it'll be like really admin work that you are doing, and oh, I won't really be getting the opportunity to get involved in actual projects. That's absolutely not the case. We absolutely want our Bright Starts and all our apprenticeships to really get involved right from day one. So you will absolutely be able to shadow members of the team that you're working in, and you'll start working on projects that they are very much so working on as well. And Hannah and Faris will be able to, fingers crossed, be able to back me up on that as well, in regards to what is available and the kind of projects that they've been getting involved in over the last 5 months as well. The Bright Start apprenticeship is paid. And we do go through kind of salary reviews and things as well. So you will be on a permanent salary, and you will be meeting clients. You're working on the projects, and like I said, alongside your own apprenticeship. If there's anything else that you feel like you would like to get better at, or you want to kind of increase your development on, then we have several platforms on part of our learning and development, and you're able to go through, if it's, I don't know, your communication skills, presenting skills, I don't know, if you wanted to learn a bit more about Excel, then you're able to do that via our online platforms. And it's similar for entry-level apprenticeships as well. Very much so want our apprenticeships coming in, meeting our clients, getting involved in the projects, really wanting to hear their point of views, and really just have, those fresh ideas coming to the table. And again, you will be very much so getting involved with meeting clients and doing a kind of practical project work in-house as well. You'll have 2 days that you will be dedicated to your college days. So you'll be advised of what your college days are and what your days in the office will be once you were to go and start. So once you kind of get your contract through, then somebody from the team will be able to tell you that actually these will be the college days for the course that you are doing. The entry-level apprenticeships are paid also, so you are very much so being able to earn that money, as well as very much so getting practical experience and also getting your qualifications as well. And again, if there's things that you are wanting to learn out with the course that you're studying, part of the apprenticeship, then our learning platforms, there's so much that's readily available for all of our staff members. So yeah. And then Career Shapers. So the Career Shapers is a 3-day event. It does take you on to, if you want to do the Bright Start, if that's something you want to do, then it does give you entry into the Bright Start apprenticeship. At the moment, Career Shapers, we are actually full for this year. So even though our Bright Starts and our entry-level apprenticeships are all very much so open for applications, our Career Shapers have all been full. As soon as we opened for applications, they were pretty much gone within kind of the first couple of weeks. So certainly if you're in the age range for Career Shapers and it's something you would like to do, I would certainly advise you next year, keep an eye out on our websites and just generally online, and you will see Career Shapers go up, and generally it'll go up around October, November time, and you'll be given all the dates for be it a virtual event or in-person event. For the in-person event, and due to like age, we would advise that you attend an in-person event in the city that you're in. But yeah, otherwise you will be able to attend a virtual event as well. And then I just wanted to go through, and I'm conscious I'm talking really fast and going through really quickly what comes with all the apprenticeships, but we can certainly go into questions shortly, but just wanted to really just talk through how the business is kind of broken up. So we have our career paths, where we're broken up into audit and assurance, but business and financial advisory, consulting, cyber, and then that breaks out it kind of a finer into actual service lines. So you could be part of audit, tax consulting, risk advisory, enabling functions, which is what I sit under, consulting. So it really depends on what part of the business takes your interest. And if you are looking into one of the Bright Start or entry level apprenticeships, I would definitely recommend you to go onto the website, have a read through the service lines, what they do, what sort of projects they get involved in, and then really be able to think about and decide what sort of apprenticeship you would want to go into, because there's so much available within all of those service lines. Lots of different roles that are available. Like for example, tax and consulting, it's not, you know, a lot of people just think, oh, it's tax, but it's not. It's immigration tax, it's mobility tax, you know, so there's lots of things that are available even within each of those service lines. So definitely go online and have a read through to really understand what service line would take your fancy and what you feel you see yourself pursuing. And then in the middle of our rainbow is the programme. So I've talked briefly, if I go from the left-hand side, entry-level apprenticeships and Bright Start apprenticeships. These are the two apprenticeships that are available for our school leavers who are maybe not wanting to go into college or university, but want to start getting work and then want to gain their qualifications while they're working as well. But I will just briefly talk through the rest of them. Spring into Deloitte is for first year university students. It's a summer placement. It's again, similar to Career Shapers, it's 2 to 3 days that you're able to come into the offices, and it gives you a chance to be able to see you know, what we do on a day-to-day basis, what sort of projects we work on, and it's similar to Career Shapers. It's a try before you buy sort of scenario. If you were to do the spring into Deloitte, if you do end up going into university after school, then that does give you entry into the summer vacation scheme, and the summer vacation scheme is for penultimate university students. So it's a 6-week summer vacation scheme over the summer, and it allows you to come in and work on a project in the team that you've applied for, and then that gives you an entry into the graduate programme. And then industrial placements are for, again, university students who are wanting to take a year out of university and do a work experience for a year. So they would come in and they would take a year out of their studies and they would work full time with us. And then, of course, we have our graduate programs as well. And that is once you've done your 3 to 4 year study, or 5 years if you go on to do your masters, and then you would join our graduate scheme. And the graduate scheme, like the apprenticeships, very much so is a permanent contract. So you would very much so work directly onto a rolling contract. Once you finish your graduate scheme, you would go on to a rolling permanent contract out of the graduate scheme into the world of Deloitte. Before I go through kind of the application process, I can see lots of questions coming through and I'm not being able to read them, sorry, at the same time.
Read them, Madiha?
Yeah, go for it. Let's answer some questions, and if anyone has any questions for you guys.
Yeah, one of the questions here says, how long does an entry level apprenticeship last?
So the entry level apprenticeships are 1 year. It can be dependent on the course that you're studying due to like the service line that you've applied to. It might be that it's like a 2 year, but generally they are a 1 year entry level, and then the Bright Starts can go on to 2 years.
Great stuff. What are the criteria for the GCSE and the A-level grades to start the apprenticeships? I think it's dependent, isn't it?
It is dependent, that's correct. So it's absolutely dependent on the role that you're applying to and the service line you're going into. It'd be dependent on what the course that you would study on at college, what they would require. So it would, but when you go on to apply and you go onto the website, it will advise you of what GCSEs and what A levels you would need for the entry level and the Bright Start.
We've also got a question about the career shape, as whether that's similar to work experience.
It is work experience. It's kind of bracketed under the work experience. That's what we bracket it under. But you will very much so in Career Shapers be in kind of a room full of other students of your age, and there'll be somebody running the session, and then you'll get to meet other like Bright Starts or entry level apprenticeships and grads as well. So it's a really mixed bag of being able to see kind of what Deloitte do and all the different ways you can join.
Great stuff. I think you have touched on this, but what happens when the apprenticeship finishes?
So once the apprenticeship finishes, you will basically be on a permanent contract in that team. So you go from being an apprenticeship into being dependent on what the title is for that team, but maybe you'll be an analyst or a consultant or whatever it may be that you kind of move on to, and then you've just very much so putting, I suppose, what you've studied and what you've kind of learnt over the last year into play.
Perfect. Is there a choice of which career path you start in when working for Deloitte via a program, or does this come on once the apprenticeship is completed?
Sorry, I need to read that question myself. Sorry.
No
What
problem.
one is it here? What are the most? Sorry.
Is there a choice of which career path?
Yeah, I mean the career paths themselves that's dependent on where you see yourself sitting. So if you've decided you want to take a career in legal, you know, that's the career path that you would take, and that's the pathway you would go through. So you could be sitting in something like legal or human capital or governance, risk and regulation. If you wanted something in tax, you could be again in tax, or you could be in like business and financial advisory, consulting. So really dependent on what you want to do. If you see yourself at wanting to do something in risk management or kind of risk, cyber, the risk advisory would be the service line that you would join, and then that very much so falls under in the career paths for risk advisory, technology, cyber, consulting, governance, risk and regulation. So this is why I'm saying it's really important to go onto the website and really read through what each service line does. And I think that'll give you a clear view of where you see yourself and where you want your career to go.
Yeah. Are there any opportunities for work experience for year 11s coming up this summer?
So this year, no, unfortunately, just because we're actually oversubscribed at the moment. So we wouldn't be able to actually even take on, because we've actually got a reserve list at the moment. But if you're in year 11 now, next year you could be attending year 12 Career Shapers, and I would absolutely advise you to look out for applications opening September, October time and get your application in, because it is a first come, first served with Career Shapers.
I think this is going to test your statistics there, Madiha. And what are the most popular Bright Star apprenticeships for students applying with A levels? I'm not sure whether you have the actual numbers to hand.
I don't. This is an interesting one, because I was running a report on this for somebody else earlier on today, but it was 21 data, not 23 data. Is such a mixed bag, if I be honest. Consulting always seems to be a really fancy area. Everyone always wants to join the consulting part of the business. We always find Bright Starts and grads want to join consulting, and they want to be like very much like client facing and yeah. So we have a lot of Bright Starts join there. But at the same time, a lot of Bright Starts, we do see people who want to take a role up in like kind of accounting and all of that, and maybe don't want to go into university to do their like accounts degrees, and we have a lot of students that do apply to audit and also tax.
Perfect. How long are the level 6 Bright Start apprenticeships, and is there a chance to progress onto a level 7?
So I don't think it naturally kind of progresses onto level 7. What happens is after the Bright Start and you go into you're kind of just doing your work. You're then doing the professional qualification that team offers. So that could be, yes, like your ACCA or your ACA, and there's a few other as well, which I'm not sure of because I'm not an accountant by profession. So there's a few different qualifications that are available. So if that's what you wanted to do, that's what you would do. Sorry, just to answer the initial question, the Bright Start apprenticeship is between 1 to 2 years, again dependent on what course you're studying, and that's dependent on what service line you join.
This question more about study leave. Do Deloitte, obviously we do a qualification, do we get time for study leave, or are we expected to in our own time? I think I can take that up.
I was going to say, you tell me.
Yeah. 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 No, we do get study leave. It's a legal requirement. I think it's an 80-20 split. Is that correct? So for the current apprenticeship that I'm on at the moment, we're doing coursework related stuff. So you get 8 hours per exam for that. Next year I'll be on the level 6. So again, it'll be an 80-20 split. So yeah, so we do get study leave. We're not expected to do it on the weekends or work until 10 p.m. That would not be great, would it? What have we got? If you do a level 6 degree apprenticeship, do you get to pick the university?
So no, it is a thing. Well, I've just said like no really abruptly there. I'm sure we have universities that we are linked with who then allow our staff members to come on and do those qualifications via the university and colleges. So it's very much dependent on where you're based, city-wise, region-wise, and the universities that we're linked with.
And once you've completed the apprenticeship, does Deloitte offer employees the ability to move between global offices?
So again, this is very dependent on your own team, to be honest with you. It's not unheard of, but I think once you kind of apply to the team that you're in, unless you're like moving roles, and you're kind of going up in your career, then yes, you might be moving sites and offices. But certainly if it's something global you want to do, then that's something you would have to take up with your line manager and see if that's something that they would be able to honour.
Question about the Bright Start program, the accounting and finance. Does it provide you with a qualification such as the ACCA or the ACA?
So not the Bright Start wouldn't. That is something that then once you start on as after your Bright Start, that would then be naturally what you would go on to study, depending again on what the team that you're applying to offers. So not all of the teams, like in tax or audit, offer ACC or ACA. It just depends on what qualifications is needed in that team, if that makes sense. So it can vary.
Perfect. A question here about what we were speaking about earlier, between the split of working in the office and at home. Yeah, it is mixed. It is hybrid. I generally like going to the office, especially as we're quite new into our career. I think having that split, going into the office, learning from each other, is something that I prefer. I'm not sure whether you agree, Hannah. I think you were along the same lines.
Yeah, no, so I work in audit, which is quite client facing. So it is good to go into the client's offices and the Deloitte offices and then also be at home. So kind of all over the place, but it's definitely nice to have a mix at this point.
Yeah, definitely. I completely agree. I've been here a year now, and it is nice, even though it's really easy to just roll out of bed and put my laptop on from home. But I'm actually going into the office tomorrow, so looking forward to it. I suppose just stepping away from the chat box, if there's anyone that would like to come off mute, who's brave enough to come off mute, then please feel free to and ask any questions. But I did have a question. Hi, Malika. Sorry, I don't know if you...
Yeah, no, so we've actually muted all of the all the
Oh,
students'
attendees,
mics and
okay.
cameras. Yeah, so they won't be able to turn that on.
That is absolutely fine. Sorry, I
No
apologise.
worries.
I do have a question, Faris and Hannah, just for you. Just in regards to your apprenticeship, how have you found kind of the support with obviously joining hybrid in this kind of hybrid market of working, and then yeah, kind of how you're balancing that kind of working and studying as well?
Yeah, no, I think the transition going from school to the workplace is obviously not easy, and no one's expecting for it to be in Deloitte. Completely understand that. And I think one of the things that I was quite shocked of about was going to be just come from school, get chapped into the corporate workplace. It's proved nothing like that. The support network at Deloitte's fantastic. We've got coaches, buddies we can speak to. Obviously, the wellbeing app, which is fantastic. You've got your engagement team, so when you're on a client project, you've got your project team that you can speak to. So the support has been really I think it's been fantastic. It's all been really thought out. You can tell way in advance before we came, and that's made it a whole lot easier. I know when we first joined, we had 2 residentials in the first month, trying to really give you that informal sort of entry into the firm. And once you're in, it doesn't feel like you've been thrown into it, but it does feel like you've been gradually eased into it. So I think from my point of view, there was a lot of trepidation entering into the firm, but I think the way that the firm have handled that has been absolutely fantastic.
Perfect.
Yeah,
And
no,
Hannah,
I
how about you?
definitely agree. I think it's a big jump, but they definitely try their best to bridge that gap before you even join. You've got a buddy that you can just reach out to with any questions, no matter how small it will be. So we will both be getting a buddy soon, I'm sure. And your team, everyone's aware that you are not from university or from school. So they definitely are conscious and definitely help answer any questions, no matter how small they can seem.
And in regards to kind of your study days, do you have set days where you are going into college or university for your studies?
So I am studying towards the ACA, so doing the
Okay.
level 7 Bright Start apprenticeship because that links to audit. However, it can work differently on different modules. Some modules they've seen with Bright Starts, they really like a block release. You might be in college for a couple of weeks straight and then do your exam. And then some modules you will be in college 1 day a week. So for example, every Monday you'll be going in and then you'll sit your exam on a following Monday. So it really can depend with what exam you're studying, and if they have found in the past it's good to get you out for a few weeks at a time and get it done. So yeah, they will sort that out for you. You don't have to worry about any of your college time.
Fab. Faris, how about yourself?
Yeah, mine's completely different. This is what we can go on about when we say Deloitte's so big, and it's do you know all the different service lines that we have? It encompasses different things. Mine's quite different. Right now in financial crime for the apprentices, we're doing the ICA qualification. That's more course work in the first year. So essentially, we're getting 8 hours per exam. Per assignment, sorry. So we had an assignment due in January. The next one's due in April. I found it to be quite nice having the 8 hours. A lot of research with coursework, so you could feel overwhelmed, but I think the way that Deloitte and the teams understand, okay, you're an apprentice, you've got your assignment coming up, that takes priority, makes everything a whole lot easier. So yeah, different, but still great support.
Fantastic. Perfect. And I can see a couple of questions I just wanted to answer in the chat. Can a year 11 do a Bright Start higher apprenticeships this September after GCSE? For the Bright Start, you would need to have some A-level qualifications. So it would be the entry level apprenticeship that you would apply to. You can then, just depending on how you want to move up in your career, you either continue that entry level apprenticeship and you go through that qualification, or then if you wanted to do the level 6 Bright Start apprenticeship, then that's something you would be able to do for that and move on to that. And you can't do the Bright Start while you're at university or college. It is a full-time job, so you would be doing the job and we would be supporting you in getting that qualification at the same time. So if you're studying separate from obviously something you've enrolled in yourself, then yeah, it wouldn't be the Bright Start apprenticeship that you'd be able to do. the only entry-level apprenticeship is in Cardiff. That's right. At the moment, that is the case, but I think that is due to change. So just I would advise you just to keep looking at what is available, because we do have other apprenticeships that will be coming up. I'm conscious of time, and we've had some really great questions coming through. Please keep them coming through, be it for myself or for Faris or Hannah. And I just want to talk through the application process as well. And I'm sure everyone will have some questions in regards to the application process. So in regards to the application process for entry-level apprenticeship and for the Bright Start apprenticeship is slightly different, just due to the Bright Start being that bit more where you've got your A-levels, and you would be going on to potential university. So I'll talk through the Bright Start application first, and then I'll go through the entry-level apprenticeship. So for the Bright Starts, you would do your application online. It should only take you 15-20 minutes to register your interest in the role that you want to do. At that point, I would definitely advise you, have done your homework, go on the website, really decide on where you see your career going and what you would like to focus and kind of get your qualifications in. It should only take you 20 minutes, like I said, and all you're doing is kind of name, address, and you're putting down whatever education you have. So at that point, for your Bright Start apprenticeship, once you do that, within 5 days, you should be invited to our immersive online assessment, and this is our online assessment where you will get asked to sorry, I'm just reading what it says here. Sorry. We'll ask you to kind of rank scenarios, and I'll give you scenario-based questions, and you have to answer it. It should only take you 1 hour, up to 1 hour, to complete the immersive online assessment. You have 5 working days from the day that you receive your immersive online assessment to complete it. You can only complete it in 1 sitting, so I would certainly advise you just take an hour out of your time, sit down. We've genuinely not made it complicated at all. It's very much based on questions that are really just logical and straightforward. But take that hour out, just sit somewhere quiet and just go through your responses. As long as you pass the immersive online assessment, you will then get invited to the job simulation. Now, the job simulation, it's an online video assessment, so it almost feels like you're being virtually recorded. You're having a virtual interview with someone. Just the only difference is there's not someone sitting on the other side of the camera. It's just yourself, and you just go through answering questions that come up on screen, interview questions, as well as you may get asked to write down like a written response as well to maybe an email or a work scenario. Again, similar to the immersive online assessment, the job simulation should only take you 1 hour to complete, and it can only be completed in 1 sitting. So when you do go to sit it, just take that hour out and sit down and somewhere quiet and just go through your job simulation. A lot of people do ask, is someone actually marking these, or is it just a program, a robot? I can definitely advise you there is human beings that are going through your responses and marking them. So it's not a robot. It's nothing automatic system generated. They're human beings at the back of both the immersive online assessment and the job simulation who are marking them, grading them. And then as long as you pass the job simulation as well, you'll then get invited to a final assessment. Now, the final assessment generally is a assessment centre, and this will be based on kind of like a group task you do in an assessment centre, an individual task, and then a one-to-one interview with either a senior director or a partner from the team that you're applying to. I know in Risk Advisory, they do not do assessment centres. So if you don't want to do an assessment centre, Risk Advisory is probably the team you should apply to. It's just a one-to-one interview with them. And then if you were to be successful, you would gain your offer. Whereas in regards to the entry-level apprenticeship, you're actually just doing your apply online registration and then your final assessment. You don't actually have to do the two middle parts of the immersive online assessment and job simulation. So and again, it kind of varies depending on what team you're joining for the ELA, but generally it's just a face-to-face interview with the team that you've applied for, and fingers crossed, if you're successful, you then go on to receive your offer. The Career Shapers, it is just a note of interest, so it's just a registration online that you're applying, registering. You don't do any of the immersive online job simulation or the final assessment. And like I said, with the Career Shapers, it's a first come, first serve. So as soon as they open and if you're wanting to do it, I would certainly advise you to apply online and complete them. So that is what I wanted to go through just in regards to the online applications. And I just want to, I can see there's a couple of questions coming out. What are the locations for the Brexit apprenticeships? They're all over the UK, so absolutely dependent on what service line and what role you've applied for. Where do you advertise your Brexit? So everything is on our own website. We do sometimes reach out, and we're trying our best to reach out to schools and colleges and making people aware of the Brexit apprenticeships that are available. And fingers crossed, we will be coming to a school near you soon. And you will hear more of either myself or one of my colleagues. For the immersive online assessment job simulation, is there any prior knowledge required? Or no, you do not have to have any prior knowledge. These are very much general questions or based on kind of current events. So as long as you kind of know what's roughly happening in the world, that's what those questions are based on, as well as just kind of work scenarios. So, you know, I don't want to give out questions and answers here, but yeah, kind of work-based questions that would come up in kind of any interview that you go for. How far in advance do I need to apply if I'm in year 11 next year? So if you're in year 11 next year and you're wanting to start the ELA, you would apply for it next year. If you're wanting to go on and do your A-levels and then apply for the Bright Starts, it would be the following year. And always remember, you're able to next year do the Career Shapers, which does give you the chance to see what the business does over the 3 days, and if the apprenticeship would be something that you'd actually want to go ahead with. Are there any opportunities available? There are apprenticeship opportunities available for HR. I think they're more of the Bright Start ones rather than the entry level ones. But certainly everything will be on our website, and there will be stuff that is available within enabling functions as well for the Bright Starts. Could you explain a bit more about the group exercise, please? Would it be with other applicants? So yes, if you were to get onto the final assessment and do a group task, individual task, you will be in an assessment centre with other Bright Starts as well. So we generally, because they're still online, we try to keep the groups small, so there wouldn't be more than like not even 10 people in a group online, and we would have, you know, if we had 10, for example, we would have 5 and 5. So you'd only be in a group task with another 4 people, and you would do a group task. The group tasks are absolutely nothing to worry about. You're given absolutely everything that you need to read over and discuss within it, and you've got enough time to read through that and then get through your group task. The individual task is similar, but it's just yourself and you're talking to your interviewer, and then you have your one-to-one interview. What particularly do you look for in an applicant other than academic grades? That's a really difficult question to answer, to be honest with you. Deloitte are really big on diversity, and when I talk about diversity, personality, like we want to see who you are as an individual and what you can bring to the table. Each one of us has a unique skill, each one of us has a unique personality, and we all bring something individually to the table, and we want to see that. Deloitte want to see that. So you know, we have a lot of people that think, oh my god, like I'm coming to Deloitte for an interview and I must be like this corporate, and no, not at all. Be yourself. Absolutely, take a deep breath, be yourself and you will shine. And as long as we can see you as a person and what you bring and what skill set you bring, you will be absolutely fine. So yeah, I know that's a bit of a vague answer, but it's the honest truth. So just a question specifically for Hannah. Since I'm aiming to go down the same route, did you directly apply for a level 7 Bright Start scheme, or did you have to apply for a level 6 and then down the road you progress to a level 7 apprenticeship? Also unrelated but quickly, what A levels did you achieve?
So I applied directly for the level 7 apprenticeship for audit, so I didn't have to go and reapply or progress on. However, I'm not sure how it works for other service lines, so that is just audit specific. In terms of A levels, I did achieve A's. However, you don't need all A's to apply. I think when I applied, don't quote me on this, but it was maybe 3 B's that you needed or 2 B's and a C. And I know people in my intake didn't achieve all straight A's or A stars. So it's not just academics, as Midi has mentioned, you know, there's other qualities that they look for as well as your grades.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Hannah. And absolutely agree. It's not about getting like all A's, and you will see that when you go through the website and look at what we're looking for. The GCSE and A level grades that we're kind of looking towards are all there. And they're not all A's. Do you do internships during the summer? So the internships would be either the Career Shapers that we have, which is a 3-day event, and most of them are online. Again, like I said, we're filled for this summer, but you can definitely apply for next summer. Otherwise, the only other internships we have are for penultimate university students, which would be the summer vacation schemes that are available. So yeah. I hope we've not missed any questions, but
No, thank you. Thank you. That's been really, really good. Thank you so much for answering the questions as you went along as well. That's been really, really helpful. And hopefully everyone attending has managed to get a couple of their questions answered. Before we just close off, I think it would be really great to just hear from Hannah and Faris. What do you do in a day? What kind of projects are you working on? What makes working at Deloitte so exciting for you guys since you started? Just some sort of exciting stories that we can tell the students that have joined to get them excited to join the world of Deloitte as well. So if Faris, if you don't mind me putting you on the spot there to start that off.
No problem. No. So there are a few questions in there. First, what do I do day to day? So when you're a part of the client engagements, obviously with Deloitte we serve clients. So in that regard, as Medea said, you're going to be really involved, especially in the Bright Start program. You're going to be given real life responsibility, and I guess at first it can be a bit frightening or scary, but I think that's the best way you grow. You grow by doing. If you do nothing, you won't actually unlock your full potential. So essentially we had a document that we were delivering to the client, and I was really at the heart of that. So at Deloitte we love PowerPoints. In fact, what we're presenting to you today is on a PowerPoint. So I was essentially putting that deck together for the client, and that was looking at the relevant content that we had to use for the client, a lot of the meetings that we had with them. So I was really in charge of that. And when you actually go and look in a few weeks' time and that gets delivered to a client, it's really fulfilling that you know you played a huge part in that. So again, that's a big responsibility, right? That's going to off to a client. It's got to be good, but they'll understand at the same time that you are new and you're not going to know everything. But having that responsibility, I feel like, puts you in good stead. And what was the last question? Was it what's the best thing
Anything
about
exciting
Deloitte?
that you're working on? What makes working at Deloitte your favorite job in the world?
I think it's a combination of choosing the right, for me, service line. You've got to do something that you're interested in. So financial crime impacts us all. A lot of these crimes that I'm going to mention, everyone's heard of: money laundering, fraud, bribery and corruption, sanctions, all these buzzwords that affect everybody. It really is an area with huge purpose and impact. I think Deloitte's value of taking care of each other, you really do see that, especially in the engagement that I was in. It was a really nice small team where when I was thrown into it, you had directors with 10 plus years of experience or a partner with 15, but everyone's there to help. And I think you do get daunted at first. You feel like you may not know everything, but no one's expecting that you do. I think there's a question in the chat box: how much do you have to know? Nothing. But what you do have to show is the appetite to learn, the willingness to learn, and are you curious? And I think if you have a blend of those skills, you're already there. And what does it come down to? It just comes down to practicing every day. Are you ready to turn up? And if you are, then yeah, Deloitte's the correct place to take you from coming as an apprentice right to the top, hopefully in a good 10-15 years at partner level. But yeah, we'll leave that first. Just
It'll be less than 10 years, I'm sure.
Yeah, even less than that. But no, the progression route's really, really quick. I think that's one of the reasons why I joined. It was unprecedented how quickly you could move up. So fantastic.
Right. And Hannah, over to you. What you working on?
Yes, so in audit, again, we go into different clients and look at their financial statements. Don't want to bore you all, but essentially you have different areas of testing. So they might say they've got £1 million worth of cash, and you might be responsible for testing that, obviously with the help of your team and everyone who's done it before and has already done that testing. So you'll be responsible for your area of testing, and then those sort of pieced together with all of the members of your team who then look at the financial statements as a whole and then can comment on if those are true and fair. And in terms of any good stories, I have just got back from Edinburgh. I'm from the St Albans office by London, but we did a trip to Edinburgh where I actually saw Princess Anne. So
That's
yeah,
really exciting.
yeah, she
And
was at our client site. So
I'm jealous.
yeah.
yeah. And managing £1 million, that doesn't sound too boring for your day job, I must say.
No, it's always interesting. There's always change, which I feel like is a good thing. So
Mhm.
you're not going to be on the same client all year round in audit, and there will always be something to do. So yeah,
Oh,
it's
I'm
a great
so
thing.
glad to hear that. But thank you guys so much. Apologies, we ran over ever so slightly, but hopefully you all got your questions answered. And if there's anything that we didn't get round to answering, I've made a note of it and I will send it over to the team at Deloitte following the webinar. As a little reminder, this will be recorded and uploaded to our YouTube channel, so you can watch it as many times as you would like. But thank you all for joining. We do hope you have a lovely evening. And if you've taken anything away from this, we hope it's such as you just be yourself when you apply and you will shine. But thank you so much for joining.